I begin with a poem. Run deep, run clear. Fill any space to its own dimensions. Respond to the moon, to gravity. Change colors with the light. Hold your temperature longer than the surrounding air. Take the coast by storm. Go underground. Bend light. Be the one thing people need even when they're fasting. Eat boulders quietly. Be a universal solvent. That was Be Like Water by Kendra Ford. Water is known for all known forms of life. Water is vital for all known forms of life. Water covers about 71% of the Earth's surface and is the main component of the fluids of all known living organisms. Water is the only common substance to exist as a solid, liquid, and gas in normal terrestrial conditions. It forms precipitation in the form of rain and aerosols in the form of fog. Clouds consist of suspended droplets of water and ice, its solid state. When finely divided, crystalline ice may precipitate in the form of snow. The gaseous state of water is steam or water vapor. So water is sort of the Meryl Streep of inorganic compounds. Last week, Conrad and I were talking about today's service, and he mentioned the healing powers of water, something I hadn't thought a lot about. Some of us had less than ideal summers, so reflecting on the ability of water to help heal us as we come together again seems wise. Wading into a pool or slipping into a hot tub, we may feel our energy and mood change. Attesting to their popularity, I saw on TV yesterday that the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo is at George R. Brown yesterday and today. So do with that information as you will. At a beach, on a boat, or lakeside, we feel the pulse-like waves. Surfers and sailors can attest to the fact that there is something spiritual about being out on the water. And being in or near a great expanse of water can help to renew our appreciation for the world around us. Last week, I spoke about feeling the soul of certain places, such as in nature or in exhilarating cathedrals. Being near a large body of water is perhaps the most beckoning of places to experience deep feelings of awe and purpose. Connect us to something bigger than ourselves, and to feel the soul of the world. And more than our emotional and spiritual health, water, ice, and steam can help us heal physically. Both ancient Egyptians and Greeks used bathing rituals to help cure physical ailments. While today, people may soak in an Epsom salt bath to soothe tired muscles, reduce swelling, and to treat minor aches and pains. Native American tribes believed in the purifying power of sweat lodges, and the ancient Aztec and Olmec tribes of Mexico practiced a sweat bath ceremony known as Temazcal as a religious rite of penance and purification. Now, modern steam baths at the gym can ease the mind by causing a person to sweat out toxins, which can alter mood, thinking, and behavior. And while at the gym, we can swim several laps or do water aerobics to stay in shape. But if you take up running instead and sprain your ankle, you may need an ice pack to reduce pain, swelling, and inflammation. Water is sort of the urgent care of inorganic compounds. So, time for a bit of trivia. You may be surprised that Kentucky has more navigable miles of water than any other state in the lower 48. It's second in the U.S. only to Alaska, which is 16 and a half times its size. Those waterways are made up of rivulets that flow into streams and brooks, then into creeks, which are a little larger, and then these tributaries flow into rivers and out to sea. Now, I bring this up for a couple of reasons. River networks, the way those waterways join together from smaller tributaries to larger rivers, is a pattern often seen in nature. These patterns exhibit a self-similarity over extended but finite scale ranges. These examples from nature are approximate fractals. Now, in a January sermon, I talked about the Big Bang, dark energy, and fractals, all common theological topics. This is mathematician John Casty's description. Fractals are curves that are irregular all over. Moreover, they have exactly the same degree of irregularity at all scales and measurement. So it doesn't matter whether you look at a fractal from far away or up close with a microscope. In either case, you'll see exactly the same picture. Now, a twig can be thought of as a fractal. The twig looks like the branch, and the branch looks like the limb, and the limb looks just like the tree. Other real-life examples are blood vessels and pulmonary vessels, coastlines, lightning bolts, and the contours of clouds, and, of course, the branching of river systems. I explained how a fractal is my new favorite metaphor for God, backed up by the statement in Genesis that God made humans in God's own image. You can look for that sermon on our YouTube channel or on our podcast. But the bigger reason I bring up the idea of river systems is the concept of confluence. Perhaps you've seen raindrops trailing down a window. There are two paths merging, then the larger drop merges with yet another drop. That's a confluence, as is when a tributary joins a larger river, or where two rivers join to create a third. Confluences are important to the ecology of a stream because they often mark where changes in river energy, chemistry, and habitat take place. But the dictionary also defines confluence more generally: a coming or flowing together, meeting or gathering at one point. So this water communion is a confluence of our friends and members gathering again for the beginning of another church year. Chemists who study the confluence of the branching of rivers report that sometimes the mixing of the waters of two streams triggers a chemical reaction. This is sometimes obvious because the water in the two streams is different colors. The color of each stream or river is determined by many things: type and amount of vegetation in the watershed, geological properties, dissolved chemicals, sediments, and biologic content, which is usually algae. The color difference can persist for miles downstream before they finally blend together. You no doubt see where I'm going with this. When we come together, we are able to change one another as well. It may not be a chemical reaction, but a response nonetheless. We are here to support one another, help one another, and even love one another. It may not always be easy, and it may be a reaction we weren't anticipating, but we try to extend grace to those doing their best under trying circumstances. We covenant together to reflect how we intend to treat one another and the world. And love is the rushing river at the confluence of our shared values. Our water communion gives us a chance to gather together again and be changed. Amen.